love instead of just being able to naturally receive it. Because of that, he kind of developed an early understanding from since he was a child that love isn't easily given. He has to earn it, even if it's at the cost of himself and his identity and the core of who he is, which ultimately molded him to become the person that we see now. Poor baby. Because he had been used all of his life, unknowingly, he made Dohu, when he did come into the picture later, into a savior. So he put all this kinds of pressure and expectations on Dohu to not ever leave him, and also kind of setting up the expectation that because Dohu has never used him, he is different from the rest. He started mentally separating Dohu from the rest of them, and kind of putting that pressure, I honestly would say, with how often he was saying it, that Dohu can never ever use him. Not realizing that when it's people that you trust and that also mean well, that have your best interests in mind, it ultimately ends up not really being that big of a deal in the bigger scheme of things. But because of his personal experiences, because in the end, that is what equated to love, and how much that version of love damaged him, he can't see as anything but negative. So ultimately ended up being the trigger that blew up their relationship. So because this was such a big trigger for him, what ended up happening was Juhan was dishing out all of the hurt, the pain, the anger that had built up over the years, and kind of all dumped it all on Dohu, when really it wasn't. I mean, yeah, like, he didn't do a good thing, but his deep-seated anger more lied with the two people in his life, his family members, that ultimately kind of crippled him in being able to have healthy relationships into his adulthood. So really, that's who he should have exacted all of that anger on, instead of Dohu. But I think that's ultimately what we're going to be seeing in the third season. But more than anything, I know that those two have a lot to work through, and I did do a deep dive on a different video if you guys want to check that out, but this is kind of the short version, and I know we have to be patient, but I honestly can't wait until we can see all of them get together again, because it is rough, and I'm barely getting through each week.